Hey, what's up everybody? So today I'm going to be talking about how to create a football soccer pitch in Python. Soccer if you're from the United States, football if you're from anywhere else in the world basically. But sorry about this. It's the morning and I don't know how to stop the light coming in like that. Pikachu in the background right there. Anyways, so the two methods, they're fairly straightforward. This is part one of creating pass maps, being able to create pass maps, different visualizations as well. There's two pretty straightforward methods that I'm going to go through. The first one is using a website called mplsoccer, which they've created a module, kind of like a package in Python to be able to just import, create a pitch really simply. And then the other one is using a website called FC Python. So they've created an actual tutorial using matplotlib, drawing it line by line. It's a lot longer of a process, but they have the code so you essentially can just copy and paste it. That's shout out to Peter McKeever. I really hope I'm saying his name right, but that shout out to Peter McKeever. He is the one that created FC Python, and it's a really good resource for learning Python and learning how to apply that into an analytical sense, especially with soccer or football. So let's jump into the two methods right now. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe down below, somewhere down here. I'm going to be coming out with the rest of the tutorials on how to create a pass map and as well heat maps and combining those together if you would like here shortly. So be sure to hit the subscribe, turn the bell notification, smash, do a Pika smash on the like button, and that really helps me out and I appreciate you guys, so thank you. Okay, so there's two pretty simple methods for creating the actual pitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up a web browser. I have one down here, and this is my Jupyter notebook that I have open. So we're just going to open up a new Jupyter notebook. You can do this in, your IDE, such as Visual Studio, or if you're using something like Spider or PyCharm or Sublime Text. I just prefer to use Jupyter Notebook for doing this. But either way, so there's two methods that we can use. We can plot every single line, which is one of the methods, or we can just import from a module from mplsoccer.com or .io. They're a website. They've created a module in Python to make it so it's really easy to create a soccer pitch. So what we're going to do, the super simple way is we're just going to do MPL soccer. You can just Google it. You just Google MPL soccer like this. And then you come down here to this mplsoccer.py.org. And it'll tell you what you need to do to be able to access it. So before we do anything, we need to use the pip install for this method. So we're going to open up a new terminal or command line if you're in Windows. And then once that loads up, you just say pip install MPL soccer. And then you hit enter. I've already installed it, so maybe I haven't on this computer. Anyways, I just installed it. So that was a good real life example of what's going to happen. So then on the same page, so it gives you the installation and then it gives you the quick start. So you can create a pitch like this if you want a stats bomb pitch, but we're actually going to go into the docs right here. So I'll include this link, both of these links, just so you can get everything. Okay, so on MPL Soccer, they have just a lot of documentation of how you can create a pitch. They have this basic code right here of just importing the pitch module, the mplsoccer.pitch module, and creating your own pitch. So we're just going to copy that. So if you just select all that, you can hit Command C, Control C, go over to your Jupyter notebook or wherever you're at, and just copy it. And then if we run that cell, it's going to create the figure in the axes it's going to create this pitch.draw function, and that's what the pitch looks like. So that's a super simple pitch that you can create. You can mess with the colors as well, so it has pitch.color. One that I really like to use, so if you come over here and you go into, so they have different pitches. So you come into pitch setup and you can do a pitch comparison. You can look at the pitch comparison. They have, so they show what the axis is on all of these. So for example, a stats bomb has a 0 to 80 inverted y-axis, 0 to 120. This is the one that I like to use. As well, you can use Y-Scout, or if you have Metrica Sports data, Opta data, UEFA data. I don't know what the stats and TRACAB are. But anyway, so those are the different pitches you can use. But for aesthetics, the one that I really like to use is if you come over here into, you click on examples, and then in plotting, you can click on pass plot using arrows, and then you come down. You can actually copy this entire code if you want and mess around with it. But the pitch that I like is this one right here. So it gives you all your arguments as well as gives you this nice color on your pitch. It's not the stripes and everything. So we're just going to copy that as well, so you can kind of get the difference. And then if we run that, that gives us that looking pitch. So that's the one that I use personally. I don't like the figure size to be that big, just because my computer isn't as big. So I do a 13 by 8 and get that. You can obviously put it even smaller. You can do like a 10 by 6 or something. So it looks like that and you can see it better. But this is the stats bomb pitch. So you have a 0 to 80 axis, and then you have a 0 to 120 x-axis. So that is the first method that you can use when creating a soccer pitch. And then the next one you can use is actually from a website called FC Python, which is run by Peter McKeever, but he is somebody in the analytics community. I believe he works for Stats Perform and Opta. But he makes really cool visualizations, and he actually has a guide on fcpython.com. So we're going to go to fcpython.com. And then if you come over here to the visualization tab, you click on that, scroll halfway down the page, and there's a drawing a pitch mat. So we click on that. And then basically he just goes through the entire step of what is going on. So his is plotted on a 0 to 130 on the x-axis, and then a 0 to 90 on the y-axis. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because when you're using your data to plot different things, it's important to have your data modified to the pitch, just so you're not plotting things in the wrong area. So your data is not saying it's at 50-50 when actually on the pitch you created it happened at like 63-45 or something. Anyways, what you can do is you can just copy this entire code that he has. So he goes through step by step, but if you're not interested in looking at everything step by step, I recommend you highly do. You can just come down to his last section of code down here. So where it says create pitch above summary, you just go up and you copy up to where it has the function creation. So define create pitch. So we'll just copy that. You can come over into that same notebook just so you can get an idea, and you can paste into that cell. And if you run that cell, one thing as well you're going to need, I forgot about this, you're going to need to import 2 modules that he said it, I don't know why I forgot to mention this. But you're going to need to import these 2 modules right here. So pyplot and then matplotlib.patches, so you can get the arc. And then we're just going to put those above. And boom. Just like that, you have a pitch created by Peter McKeever. You can obviously work and change the coloring on it and everything if you wish. But right now, that's 2 simple ways to create pitches. that you can plot on. So this is the first step in being able to create a lot of different graphics if you're wanting to do different analysis of things. So making sure that you have a function. I usually just like to pick one of the two and just continue with that for every single one, so that way you're not going back and forth, and it makes it easier for automating your data retrieval and cleansing and everything. So I personally just like to use the mplsoccer one. I didn't always use this one. I used to just plot everything, which obviously is a lot more work, but it offers a lot more customization. So it's kind of up to you which one you want to choose. If you do use the mplsoccer one, just make sure that you have the module installed using pip install. If you decide to use the FC Python method by Peter McKeever, I would just recommend that you understand what each of these are doing, that you understand what a plot is doing. So matplotlib, pyplot, plot. That's a lot of plot that I just said, but I just recommend learning what this is doing and not just copying and pasting and then just using it every time, because if you ever need to edit anything or if you get an error, it's a lot easier to fix that kind of stuff if you know what's going on. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This is part 1 of creating a pass map tutorial. So the 3 parts, like I said, I'm working right now. I just created this one, and then I'm going to create the pass maps, and then the next video, so it's a 3-part tutorial, we'll have this one and then the pass map, so adding all the passes on the pitch, and then the third one will be adding a heat map. If you're interested in that, obviously it's not necessary, but it'll be just a cool little way to add and create a better visualization.